Well, fair to say you simply flooded the system with money.
Yes, we did. That's another way to think about it. We did.
Where does it come from? Do you just print it?
We print it digitally, and we do that by buying treasury bills. That actually increases the money supply.
Financial Turmoil Explained.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good day and welcome to the show. I wonder why when I'm looking at this phone, it looks like I'm looking in the opposite direction. I'm looking right at the phone. The camera's supposed to be on the phone. What's going on with that? Anyway, listen, guys. And also, it's a little bit hard to get the light just right. I'm kind of shift it. There we go. Okay. A little bit hard for you to see me. Anyway, what I want to talk about is food troubles, and I want to talk about what's going on over in Shanghai. I'm using this camera the right way. There we go. I want to talk about what's going on over in Shanghai. It's hard when this camera keeps shifting between the light and dark or something. I'll try to hold it real steady for you guys. Anyway, what's going on over in Shanghai? They've got massive effort going on over in China right now to try to quell and stop this Omicron and its subvariants. Really what's going on in Shanghai is all the people are kind of locked up. And now, if there's even word that anybody in a family or whatever has the virus, I guess they're taking them to these detention centers that are like, I guess what they call makeshift detention centers and stuff. And they got food, and they're having trouble with their food. I saw pictures on the media of them having to throw certain items away, vegetables and stuff like that. But the world's food supply right now, we got a huge problem developing in the world's food supply. And what's curious about it is the amount of factories that produce food and stuff that are just burning up, mysteriously lighting on fire. And you know what's curious about this is this is going to impact the food supply negatively in the next few months, but it's really going to start to impact it worldwide, like months down the road, not just right now. So you might not see the impact exactly right now, but you'll see the impact later. The world was producing enough food back in 2019 to feed 8 billion people. Right now, I'm not so sure. What's making that camera do that between light and dark? It's driving me crazy. Trying to get it right. There. Now stay light. Tell the cat. Talk to the camera. Anyway, listen, guys. I'm going to just make a list here of what those different food companies do right now that burn to the ground. Azura Standard headquarters burned to the ground. Taylor Farms burned to the ground. Gem State Processing burned to the ground. Maricopa Food Pantry burned to the ground. Shearer's Foods burned to the ground. Walmart Fulfillment Center in Plainfield, Indiana burned to the ground. And I mean, that Walmart center was huge. I mean, well, you know how big some of these Walmart stores are. You can walk from one side to the other and it's like a half a mile, for crying out loud. You know how much food can be in a place like that? Anyway, is it all just coincidence? I don't know. But I can tell you one thing. This is an awful lot of food inventory is going to be burning up in these big warehouses and stuff. And this is food we're going to need months from now. Now, are we going to starve here in North America? I don't think we're going to starve to death. I think it's going to be food available, but this is surely going to raise the price of that food that's available for sale. You know, and there's certainly going to be people out there who are upset because they're having difficulty affording to buy the food because the prices went up so much higher. That's almost a certainty, and you can almost bet on that. So, you know, I was reading today, I was looking in the article and was talking about the war over in Ukraine. And it seems like, you know, when that war first started, I was very concerned. I was worried that it might escalate out of control and become a World War III and actually turn into a nuclear conflict. I was very worried about that, but it seems like it's been dragging on for a number of months now, and it seems like both sides are getting to a point now where they're going to start each looking for a way out of this miserable war that's been going on, you know? I just can't see it any other way. Russia just lost a big ship, and I mean it was a big one. Lost it, and there's no word about the crew, you know? And that ship was like a quarter-mile long. I mean, it was a monster of a ship. It was their flagship. And they've lost, I think, another ship, too. I think they lost her earlier in the war. But they've lost a tremendous amount of Russian soldiers. And that impact is going to be something that's felt months, if not years, into the future for the people that live in the people of Russia. Because word's going to come, you know, you've lost your son or whatever, and then they have to... and word spreads through their family. It's not an immediate sort of thing. It's a sort of a thing that its impact is had delayed. And that's the same way with this food crisis. You've got a delayed impact. It's not immediate. With all these food warehouses burning to the ground, you're not going to have an immediate impact. Your grocery store is not immediately going to be empty. But 3 or 4 months from now, you might notice that an awful lot of products are missing from your grocery store. But what about these people that live in third world countries? What's the impact going to be on them? Because they were just barely getting enough food back in 2019 before all of this stuff happened with the COVID and everything else. It seems like ever since we went into 2020s, it's just been one thing after another, and you barely get one thing over and start to get over it and the impact of it, and then something else comes along and hits you. You know, whether it's rising food prices or you might lose your job, or somebody you know might lose their job and they might have to live at your house or whatever. It's just like one thing after another has been hitting us since we entered into 2020. The 2020s so far have been the worst decade I've ever seen. It's just like pure garbage compared to what we used to have, like back in the 1980s, 1970s. You guys remember what it was like and how good it was back then. So now we got the bond market. The bond market, we got to watch this very carefully. I think the bond market is getting ready to blow up. A bond market from hell, because we've been through like 40-year bull in the bond market. And when you get a bull in the bond market, what happens is yields fall. Well, they went all the way down to zero, and in some cases below zero in the bond market. Now we got these rising yields. You guys hear that? We're just going to wait a second until he flies over. Some sort of a little Piper Cub or something like that. One of these little Cessna or something like that, you know? Little airplanes. You know, I've often thought to myself it might be fun to fly a little airplane of some sort. I was looking at these, I was on YouTube looking at these airplanes called a gyrocopter. And I found them very, very interesting. They're not like a regular helicopter. Regular helicopter has the engine putting its power into the helicopter blade. But how a gyrocopter works is they got a propeller like an airplane that pushes them forward, and then just the airflow alone spins a helicopter blade. And so if your engine quits, you can make a controlled landing with a gyrocopter rather than just falling out of the sky like a helicopter tends to fall out of the sky. But you know what? Helicopters have a maneuver where they can actually spin the blades before they hit the ground. If they have enough room between where they fall, and like if they have a few hundred feet there, they can come really quickly at the ground and pull up, and it'll make their blades grab the air, and it'll slow them down before they hit the ground. But it's much more... Anyway, straying from the topic is the bond market. You know, got to keep our eye on the bond market because it's getting ready to crash, I think. And it is crashing right now. When bond yields go up and they rise, that's when the bond market's crashing. And, you know, the real estate market's directly connected to the bond market and the treasury yields. And, you know, I heard yesterday, first I heard that mortgage rate was 5%. Now I heard it's like, what, 6.5% and rising? This is going to have a very negative effect upon on people who are purchasing homes. And we could get a crash in home prices as well. And that reminds me of the 2008 crisis that occurred, you know. Actually, I think we're heading towards something that would be very similar to the 2008 crisis, except with one major similarity, is how much they can control the rate of inflation. And that's what this is about. I don't think that they would be doing this at all, what they're doing right now, if it wasn't for inflation getting a little bit out of control. Anyway, guys, you guys have a great day and a great afternoon. And listen, hit that subscriber button if you haven't already. And tell your friends to hit the subscriber button. I really need some more subscribers than I'm actually have. I've been having trouble on this channel trying to get and maintain subscribers. A little thing, you know, I don't know whether I'm being put on a back burner or what's going on. But, I mean, for years now, I've been ahead of the curve on most of these other channels. I'll say something on my channel. And you guys that watch my channel know this is true. I'll say something on my channel, and about maybe 4 months later, all the other channels are repeating what I said first. You know, and saying the same thing that I said 4 months earlier. And sometimes it gives you guys a little edge, you know. All these things that's happening right now, I forecast them all on my channel long before they happen. And one of the things that hasn't really completely unfolded yet is the homeless crisis in North America. And this is something I've been forecasting for years, and it's starting to. I mean, there's more homeless than there used to be, but this is something that is going to get worse yet. This homelessness is going to get a lot worse yet. And this is what's going to lead them to pushing into their UBI, or Universal Basic Income. Anyway, guys, have a great day, and we'll catch you guys in the next show. Bye-bye.